Most passengers believe that flying is all about tight seats, boring safety demos, and overpriced snacks. But the truth is, there are 20 hidden flight secrets airlines never talk about. And once you know them, you'll fly smarter, safer, and way more comfortable than 99% of people on your plane. From secret crew compartments you've never seen to tricks airlines use to quietly overbook and bump passengers, this list pulls back the curtain on everything the industry doesn't want you to notice. And here's the kicker. By the end of this countdown, while other travelers are still wiping crumbs off dirty tray tables and stressing over turbulence, you'll know the insider moves that pilots, crew, and seasoned flyers use every single trip. So before we dive in, hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up, because I'm always uncovering travel hacks the airlines don't want you to know. And make sure you stick with me to the end, because the number one secret changes the way you'll listen to pilot announcements forever. Buckle up, let's jump straight into the countdown. Number 20, ghost flights. Here's a secret most travelers don't know. Airlines sometimes fly planes with almost no passengers on board. These are called ghost flights. Why would an airline waste money flying an empty plane? It's all about keeping their valuable airport slots. If an airline doesn't use its scheduled takeoff and landing times, it risks losing them to a competitor. So even if the plane has only a handful of people on board, the airline will still operate the flight. It might seem crazy, but ghost flights happened every year, especially during off-seasons or sudden drops in travel demand. For the airline, it's better to burn fuel than lose a prime slot at a busy airport. So next time you see a half-empty plane, remember, sometimes it's not about passengers. It's about protecting the airline's future profits. Number 19, hidden crew beds. On long international flights, you might wonder, when do the pilots and flight attendants get to rest? The secret is, many planes have hidden sleeping areas built right into them. These crew rest compartments are usually tucked above the main cabin or below the floor, completely out of sight from passengers. Inside, there are small bunks or reclining chairs where crew members can take turns napping during 10 to 15-hour flights. You'll never see these areas as a passenger, and they're locked for safety. But while you're watching a movie or dozing in your seat, your pilot might be resting in one of these secret compartments, making sure they're alert and ready to land when the time comes. It's one of those behind-the-scenes details that reminds you, flying is a team effort you don't always notice. Number 18, death on board. It's something nobody likes to think about, but it does happen. Passengers sometimes pass away during flights. Here's the secret. Legally, nobody is declared dead while the plane is in the air. Flight attendants and pilots aren't doctors, so they don't have the authority to make that call. If someone passes away, the crew can give CPR, use medical kits, or ask if a doctor is on board. But the official declaration of death only happens after landing, when medical staff meet the aircraft. It may sound strange, but until the plane touches down, that person is technically still considered alive. Number 17, tray tables. Your tray table looks harmless, just a place to eat or rest your laptop. But here's the truth. It's one of the dirtiest surfaces on the entire plane. Studies have found more bacteria on tray tables than even the toilet flush button. Why? Because toilets actually get cleaned often, but tray tables don't. In many cases, they're only wiped quickly once a day, if that. And think about what happens on them. People eat, sneeze, spill drinks, and yes, some even change baby diapers there. Then the next passenger comes along and uses the same surface. So here's your move. Always carry a disinfectant wipe. Take 5 seconds to clean the tray before you touch it, and you'll save yourself from taking home a nasty stomach bug as a souvenir. Number 16, hot towels. When a flight attendant hands you a warm towel, it feels like a little luxury in the sky. But here's the part you don't know. Those towels aren't always freshly cleaned. On some flights, especially quick turnarounds, used towels may be collected, folded, and rebagged for the next leg. That means what looks like a clean towel might have already been used before. Think about it. Passengers wipe their faces, hands, and sometimes even messy spills with them. If that towel wasn't properly washed, it could be carrying germs you don't want anywhere near your skin. So here's a safer move. Skip the towel or use your own sanitizer wipes instead. It may not feel as fancy, but it's definitely cleaner. Number 15, pilot's meals. Here's a safety rule most passengers don't know. Pilots are not allowed to eat the same meal during a flight. It's not about taste, it's about safety. If both pilots eat the same food and that meal is contaminated, they could both get food poisoning at the same time. That would leave no one healthy enough to fly the plane. To avoid this, airlines make sure the captain and the first officer eat from different trays, sometimes even from different kitchens. One might get chicken from the plane's catering service, while the other eats pasta from the airport restaurant. It may seem like a small detail, but it's a strict rule that ensures at least one pilot is always fit to land the aircraft. Next time you see them eating different meals, it's not preference, it's protocol. Number 14, seatbelts. Most passengers unbuckle the moment the seatbelt sign goes off. But here's the truth. Turbulence is the #1 cause of in-flight injuries, and it can strike without warning. Even a sudden drop of just a few feet can throw unbelted passengers out of their seats. Every year, dozens of travelers end up with bruises, cuts, or even broken bones simply because they weren't strapped in. The rule is simple. Whenever you're in your seat, keep your belt fastened low and tight across your lap. You don't have to make it uncomfortable, but leaving it clicked in keeps you safe if the plane jolts suddenly. Think of it this way. A seatbelt might feel small, but it's the easiest safety feature that could save you from serious injury at 35,000 feet. Number 13, cabin chimes. Have you ever noticed those little ding sounds during a flight? Most passengers think they're random, but they're actually secret codes used by the crew. One chime might tell the flight attendants it's safe to get up. Another could be a call from the cockpit. A different pattern might warn them about upcoming turbulence or signal that the plane has reached a certain altitude. To us, it's just background noise, but to the crew, every sound has meaning. It's their private language to keep the flight running smoothly without announcing every detail to the passengers. Number 12, missing rows. Have you ever noticed that some planes don't have a row 13? On certain airlines, the seat numbers jump straight from row 12 to 14. Why? Superstition. Many passengers consider the number 13 unlucky, and airlines would rather avoid complaints than risk people refusing to book those seats. It's not just row 13 either. In some countries, like Italy or Brazil, row 17 is skipped because it's considered unlucky there. And in parts of Asia, you may not see row 4, since the number 4 sounds like the word for death in some languages. So if you ever look at your boarding pass and wonder why your plane feels like it's missing a row, it's not a mistake. It's just airlines quietly catering to superstition. Number 11, cool cabin temperatures. Ever notice how airplane cabins always feel a little chilly no matter which airline you fly? It's not just bad climate control. It's done on purpose. Studies have shown that when cabins are kept warmer, passengers are far more likely to faint. At 35,000 feet, the lower air pressure already reduces how much oxygen your body can use. Combine that with warm, stuffy air, and fainting spells become common. So airlines deliberately keep the cabin a few degrees cooler than what most people find comfortable. It helps reduce the risk of medical emergencies mid-flight and keeps passengers alert instead of lightheaded. That's why flight attendants always recommend bringing a sweater or travel blanket. It's not just for comfort. It's because the chill in the cabin is actually a hidden safety measure that most passengers never realize. Number 10, fast boarding trick. Ever feel like boarding takes forever? That's because airlines don't actually use the fastest boarding method. There's a proven system called the Stefan method. It boards passengers from the back to the front, starting with window seats, then middle, then aisle. This way, no one is climbing over each other and the process is much smoother. Tests have shown it can cut boarding time almost in half. So why don't airlines use it? Simple. Money. Priority boarding, group boarding, and early access are things airlines can charge extra for. If boarding was quick and efficient, they'd lose out on those upsell opportunities. So, the next time you're stuck in a slow-moving boarding line, remember, it's not because there isn't a faster way. It's because the airline makes more profit keeping things the way they are. Number 9. Gate crowds. Have you ever noticed how people rush to stand by the gate long before their group is called? Flight attendants even have a nickname for them, gate lice. It feels like you're getting ahead, but crowding the gate actually makes boarding slower. The line clogs up, families with kids get stuck, and passengers in later groups can't get through easily. The truth is, your seat is already assigned. Standing there early won't get you on the plane faster, unless you've paid for priority boarding. In fact, it usually just adds stress and chaos for everyone. So here's the smarter move. Stay seated, relax, and wait until your group is called. You'll board at the same speed, without the crowding, pushing, and wasted energy. Number 8. One-engine flying. It might sound terrifying, but modern planes are built to fly safely even if one engine fails. Every large passenger jet is tested and certified to handle what's called an engine-out scenario. That means if one engine stops working, the other has enough power to keep the plane in the air and even complete the flight or land safely. Pilots train for this regularly in simulators. They know how to adjust speed, altitude, and route if an engine shuts down. In fact, there have been many real flights where one engine failed and the plane still landed without incident. So while the idea of losing an engine sounds dramatic, the reality is this: modern aircraft are designed with so much redundancy that one working engine is more than enough to keep you safe. Number 7. Autopilot limits. Many passengers think autopilot can do everything, including landing the plane. But here's the truth. Autopilot is mainly for cruising, not for takeoff or landing. Once the plane reaches altitude, autopilot can keep it steady, manage heading, and even adjust speed. But when it comes to the most critical parts of the flight, takeoff and landing, it's almost always the pilots in full control. There are some advanced systems that can assist with automatic landings, but those are rare and only used in special conditions. In most cases, the pilots guide the plane down by hand, making tiny corrections that computers can't match. So while autopilot makes the flight smoother, it's the skill and training of real pilots that bring you safely back to the runway.
Number 6. Crew pay. Here's something most passengers don't realize. Many flight attendants don't get paid during boarding. Their pay clock usually starts only when the plane's doors close and the wheels leave the ground. That means all the time they spend helping passengers find seats, lifting bags, and dealing with pre-flight stress is often unpaid. This system is one reason airlines push for fast boarding and quick turnarounds. Delays on the ground don't just frustrate passengers, they also mean the crew is working without pay. So next time you see attendants handling a chaotic boarding process with a smile, remember, they're doing it off the clock until that plane actually takes off. Number 5. Bare feet. Kicking off your shoes on a long flight might feel relaxing, but here's the truth. Airplane floors are filthy. That carpet has seen everything: spilled drinks, dropped food, baby accidents, and even bodily fluids like vomit or urine. And since deep cleaning isn't done after every flight, a lot of it just gets wiped or brushed over. Walking barefoot or even in just socks means you're picking up whatever's soaked into that floor. And in an emergency evacuation, bare feet can slow you down or leave you injured on hot asphalt or rough ground. The smart move? Always keep shoes or clean travel slippers on when you're out of your seat. Comfort is good, but nothing is worth starting your trip with germs or an infection. Number 4. Crew emergency training. Most people think of flight attendants as servers handing out snacks and drinks. But here's the secret. Their main job is safety, not service. Before they ever step onto a plane, flight attendants go through weeks of tough training. They learn CPR, how to use defibrillators, how to deliver a baby mid-flight, and even how to fight onboard fires. They also practice evacuations in smoke-filled cabins and learn how to handle unruly passengers. So when something goes wrong, they're the first line of defense. Serving drinks is just a small part of what they do. Their real job is to keep every passenger safe no matter what happens at 35,000 feet. Next time you see a flight attendant, remember, they're not just there to bring you coffee. They're trained professionals prepared for emergencies most of us never imagine.
Number 3, overbooking. Ever heard the announcement, "We're looking for volunteers to give up their seats"? That's not an accident. Airlines deliberately oversell tickets. They know that on almost every flight, a few passengers won't show up. To make sure every seat is filled and profits stay high, they sell more tickets than there are seats. Most of the time, it works fine. But if everyone shows up, someone has to be bumped. At first, the airline might offer a small voucher or free miles. But here's the trick. You don't have to take the first offer. Compensation usually goes up until enough people volunteer. And if you're forced off a flight against your will, you're often entitled to cash, not just flight credit, sometimes over $1,000 depending on the delay. So remember, overbooking is part of the business, but if you know your rights, you can turn an inconvenience into a bonus. Number 2, seat safety. Here's a secret that makes some passengers rethink where they sit. Not all seats have the same survival odds in an accident. Studies of past crashes show that passengers in the rear third of the plane often have slightly better chances of survival than those up front. And sitting within 5 rows of an exit can also make a huge difference in how quickly you can evacuate. Window seats can be safer too, since you're less likely to get hit by falling luggage or stumbling passengers during chaos. Of course, every accident is different, and no seat is perfectly safe. But if you're a nervous flyer, choosing a seat near the back and close to an exit can give you a little more peace of mind, and maybe even tilt the odds in your favor.
Number 1, pilot announcements. Have you ever noticed how pilots always sound calm no matter what's happening? That's not by accident. Their announcements are carefully worded to keep passengers calm. When they say, "a little turbulence ahead," it could actually be a pretty rough patch. When you hear "waiting on paperwork," it might really mean a mechanical check or a small repair. The goal isn't to lie, it's to avoid panic and keep the cabin relaxed. A calm tone from the cockpit reassures passengers, even if the crew is busy handling a problem behind the scenes. So the next time you hear that smooth voice saying, "we'll be on the ground shortly," remember, there's often more going on than they let on, and that's one of the biggest flight secrets of all. And there you have it. 20 flight secrets airlines never announce. From trade tables dirtier than toilets to hidden crew beds to the real reason oxygen masks only last a few minutes, now you know exactly how air travel really works behind the scenes. So tell me, which secret shocked you the most? Have you ever noticed one of these on your own flight? Drop your answer in the comments. I'd love to hear your stories. If this video gave you even one tip you didn't know, hit that like button and subscribe for more insider travel hacks the airlines don't want you to know. And don't stop here. My next video reveals the biggest flight mistakes passengers make before takeoff that can ruin a trip before it even begins. Click over and watch that now so you can save money, avoid stress, and fly like a pro. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on your next flight.